The worst part is not the symptom. It's the meaning your mind gives it. That's the moment everything changes. A strange feeling in your chest, a headache that feels a little different, a flutter in your heart, a wave of dizziness when you stand up too fast. None of that arrives with a label. At first, it's just a sensation. But if your brain has learned to look at the body through fear, the sensation doesn't stay neutral for long. It starts to feel like evidence. And once that happens, it's very hard to relax. Because now, you're not just living your day. You're trying to work out whether your body is warning you about something serious. That's why health anxiety feels so exhausting. It's not only fear. It's the constant pressure of feeling like you have to decode yourself correctly. Because if you get it wrong, your mind tells you the consequences could be huge. So of course the urge to check feels strong. Of course it feels responsible. That's what makes this so tricky. Health anxiety rarely sounds ridiculous from the inside. It sounds careful. It sounds like you're being sensible. It sounds like you're just trying not to miss something important. And that is exactly how the loop keeps going. You notice something. Then you give it your full attention. Maybe you look it up. Maybe you scan the feeling again. Maybe you ask yourself whether you felt this yesterday too. Maybe you tell yourself you're only checking once, just to be safe. But that just once almost never brings peace. Usually it brings more attention, and more attention means more sensations. That part is huge. The body is full of little changes all day long. Tiny shifts, random feelings, brief sensations that appear and disappear without meaning very much. Most people filter most of that out, not because they're careless, but because not every sensation deserves the same level of attention. Health anxiety breaks that filter. Suddenly, your body stops feeling like a place you live in and starts feeling like a place you need to monitor. And once you're monitoring, nothing feels simple anymore. A little pressure feels suspicious. A strange heartbeat feels loaded. A sensation that might have passed in 30 seconds now feels like the beginning of a story. Can you see how much fear that creates? You're not just feeling something uncomfortable. You're trying to decide, in real time, whether it means danger. And fear is terrible at making that kind of decision well. Because fear never says, let's wait and see. Fear says, what if this is the one you shouldn't ignore? And once that thought lands, the body often reacts too. Your breathing changes, your chest gets tighter, your muscles tense, your awareness narrows. Now the sensation feels bigger than it did a moment ago, which makes your mind even more convinced that the threat must be real. That is the loop. Not because you're dramatic, because fear changes both what you notice and what those sensations feel like once you notice them. That's why telling someone with health anxiety to just ignore it is useless. The sensation is real. The fear is real. The body's reaction is real. What gets distorted is the meaning attached to all of it. And once you understand that, the whole pattern starts looking different. This is not just fear of symptoms. It's fear of uncertainty inside the body. That's the real engine. Most bodies do strange things from time to time. They ache, tighten, flutter, react, feel off, then settle again. The problem is not that the body produces sensations. The problem starts when the mind decides every sensation needs a verdict. That's why reassurance helps so little in the long run. It feels good for a moment, of course. Someone tells you that you're probably okay, or the symptom fades, or you find something online that calms you down for 10 minutes. But then another doubt shows up, another what if, another sensation, and suddenly you need reassurance all over again. Why? Because reassurance doesn't solve the real problem. It doesn't teach the mind how to live with uncertainty. It just gives it a short break. And then the mind learns something dangerous. Whenever we feel unsure, we must check again. That's why this can become a full-time mental job without looking dramatic from the outside. You can be working, shopping, sitting on the sofa, talking normally, and still be silently scanning your body the whole time, half living your life and half investigating it. That is exhausting. And after a while, it changes the way you relate to your own body. You stop feeling at home in it. You start feeling watched by it. That's a horrible way to live because it means even ordinary moments lose their ease. A walk is no longer just a walk if you're paying close attention to your heartbeat. A quiet evening is no longer restful if every little sensation feels like something you need to analyze. Even sleep can become harder because the less distraction there is, the more room there is to notice. So if this is you, I want to say something clearly. You are not crazy. You are not weak. And you are not failing at being rational. You may just have a mind that has learned to treat uncertainty in the body like danger. That's different, because learned patterns can change. Not overnight, not perfectly, but they can change. And that change starts in a very small place. It starts in the gap between the sensation and the story. That gap is everything. Because right now the pattern probably looks like this. You feel something, and within seconds your mind is already building a worst-case explanation. There's almost no space between the body and the fear. So the first goal is not to feel calm immediately. The first goal is to slow down the interpretation. When something catches your attention, don't go straight to, what if this is serious? Try something more honest. I've noticed a sensation, and my mind is reacting strongly to it. That sentence matters. It doesn't dismiss the sensation. It doesn't pretend you're fine. It just separates what you felt from the story your fear wants to build around it. And that separation is powerful, because once those two things are no longer fused together, you can respond differently. This is where most people get pulled back into the same cycle. They feel the fear and immediately start investigating. They search, they scan, they replay, they check again. Not because they're weak, but because action feels safer than uncertainty. But speed is part of what keeps the loop alive. Every time you react instantly, your brain learns the same lesson. That sensation was dangerous enough to deserve an emergency response. That's why delay matters so much. Not forever, just long enough to stop turning every sensation into a full investigation. Delay the search, delay the body check, delay the reassurance text, delay the second round of analysis. That pause teaches your system something new. It teaches it that not every strange sensation needs instant obedience. And there's one question that can really help here. Ask yourself this: do I need action right now, or do I need certainty right now? Those are not the same thing. Sometimes action is necessary. Of course it is. Bodies are real, and genuine symptoms do matter. But health anxiety is rarely driven by clear action. It's usually driven by the craving for certainty. And certainty is a hole you can keep feeding forever. That's why the goal cannot be to make sure your body never feels strange again. That's impossible. Bodies are messy, imperfect, and unpredictable. The goal is to stop treating every sensation like it gets automatic authority over your attention. That is where freedom starts. Not when the body becomes perfectly quiet. When your mind stops putting every sensation on trial. So if you want something practical to try, make it simple. Pause when the sensation appears. Name what is happening. Slow down the interpretation, and ask whether you need action or certainty. That sequence matters because it breaks the exact chain that health anxiety depends on. It interrupts the old lesson and gives your nervous system a chance to learn a better one. Over time, that changes your relationship with your body. It stops feeling like a crime scene. It becomes a body again. Not a perfect one, not a fully predictable one, but no longer a place where every small sensation gets to sound like a siren. And if this helped you understand why every symptom can feel so dangerous, like the video and subscribe, because I've got more videos coming on anxiety, stress, panic, sleep, and nervous system regulation. If you've been stuck in this loop, you're not broken. You may just have a mind that learned to confuse uncertainty with danger. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.